The topic of 6ix9ine and his future has once again reached the rap world. People believe that his career is over after everyone labeled him as a snitch. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. So where is 6ix9ine right now?
The rapper is vowing not to start beefs with other artists. The site says Tekashi knows his probation officer will be monitoring his social media use for the next 5 years, and he's using his discretion and common sense when he uses it.
Before talking about 6ix9ine's future, we need to talk about his present, as in his present state of being, like where he is right now. You know, like he's out of jail right now by some miracle named coronavirus. 6ix9ine was originally scheduled to go and be in jail up until November 2020, bearing an early release for good behavior. But then the world started to shut down via coronavirus and things got messy. A lot of people were worried that they would contract the virus in one form or another, which is honestly a rational thing to fear. However, some people were thinking that because of the coronavirus that they would try and use the global pandemic to their advantage. Enter 6ix9ine. He made a plea deal to the judge that he should be released from jail because he was afraid that the coronavirus would get to him, and because of the medical situation in jail, he would not get the right treatment and would possibly pass away. I can't tell you the amount of ways that this is bogus, but I will attempt to try. A, there is no guarantee that he would have gotten infected, as you need to be infected to spread it, which would have been hard since most inmates were in jail before the major spread of the virus. B, while you could have gotten it, that doesn't mean you wouldn't have been treated for it. And C, if one person was to be let free from prison because of the virus, that would mean that everyone with a similar situation to that person should be set free, and that's a dangerous precedent. And yet he was released, or at least he was released to serve the rest of his sentence at home, which at present is set to be a few extra months. He won't be able to leave the house outside of meetings with his lawyer and other court-approved things, and should he not be able to leave the house for those approved things, he'll have to do video chat with the people in charge to prove he's not doing anything illegal. While I'm sure this may seem like a just punishment, you must remember that 6ix9ine was sent to prison for a whole host of things, and only because of his slimy and desperate desire to help himself and only himself did he get out of it. Allow us to recap it for you, shall we? The rise and fall of 6ix9ine.
Fell off already. I've been successful for 9 straight months.
In many ways, 6ix9ine's story really took off when he decided to do whatever it takes to get himself a big name in the rap industry. 6ix9ine is obsessed with not just being a rapper, but having the image of a rapper, and that means having more than just a solid look, decent music, and a following. You have to have people on the streets who are willing to back your play, something, and more. But because of his upbringing, 6ix9ine didn't have that, so he decided to go seek it out, and that's where he met the 9 Trey Bloods. This was a group based in New York that had their hands in all sorts of illegal properties, but of course that didn't deter 6ix9ine. Rather, that just helped him make his decision, as that meant they had influence that they could use to boost up 6ix9ine's image and get him into the rap world. Funny enough, he made a good choice, as they were able to get him what he wanted and more. 6ix9ine was hooked up with a manager and more, and his music career began, with some strings attached, of course. First and foremost, the 9 Trey Bloods would go and get a large cut of his profits, which 6ix9ine didn't seem to mind too much at first, but also he would follow their lead, do what they did, and helped protect the group if necessary. This agreement led to a variety of incidents involving 6ix9ine, the 9 Trey Bloods, and various other rappers and groups across the country. The number of incidents was so great that there were arrests and investigations all over the place. But did 6ix9ine care? No. Not only did he not care, he tried to go and get things done with the crew and even organize some attacks on people he had beef with, which he honestly shouldn't have done. But I never said he was the brightest bulb in the bunch, because we all know he's not, for a whole host of reasons. The point is, with the 9 Trey Bloods, he was more reckless and dangerous than ever. He needed to be stopped, and that's where the FBI stepped in and tried to get the job done, getting the plea deal.
By 2018, they both are looking at years behind bars. 6ix9ine was famously arrested in November 2018 and turned state's witness a day later.
On November 18th, 2018, the FBI launched an arrest movement on both 6ix9ine and the 9 Trey Bloods, arresting both the rapper and several members of his former street crew, whom he fired 2 weeks earlier for a variety of reasons. The arrest made big news, and they were brought up on various charges, including illegal enterprise, conspiracy, and much more. The minimum that 6ix9ine would get if convicted of these charges was 47 years, and he also could have served life if he was convicted the right way. So yeah, he was going away for life until he wasn't. You see, the FBI are not fools like Die Hard would have led you to believe. They know that to convict hardened criminals like the 9 Trey Bloods, they needed definitive testimony from one of their own. But with groups like the 9 Trey Bloods, the code of silence is vital, because if one person talks, they all go down. And they thought that everyone knew that, except 6ix9ine didn't care about that code. In fact, he didn't care one bit, because he was offered a plea deal by the FBI to rat out the members of the street crew and the 9 Trey Bloods as a whole, and in return, he would be granted a much lesser sentence, and possibly could go free if he played his cards right, which he did in spades, pun intended. If there's one thing you can trust 6ix9ine to do all the time, every time, it's look out for himself. So he not only accepted that plea deal, he tried to get it done as quickly as possible and went to work ratting out everyone that he could in order to get that lesser sentence. The rap world was stunned, to say the least, because that's not the kind of thing you would expect from a member of a group like that. But for 6ix9ine, he did what he had to do in order to get out, because he clearly didn't want to be in prison 1 minute longer than he had to be. Sure enough, on December 18th, 2019, almost 13 months to the day after he was arrested, he was sentenced to a measly 2 years in jail. But he was granted time served, which meant by that point in time, he only had to serve another 11 months. He didn't get what he wanted, but he did get less. And now, because of the coronavirus, he's at home instead of sleeping in a jail cell. The deal awaiting him.
Rapper Tekashi 6ix9ine reportedly signed a $10 million deal with his former label 10K Projects.
So reading all of this, you might think that no one would want to touch 6ix9ine after he betrayed his fellow members of the 9 Trey Bloods, but that apparently wasn't true by a very large margin. Because you see, after a recent stint in court in September 2019, the record label 10K Records, who used to be the label that had 6ix9ine, apparently offered the jailed rapper a $10 million deal to sign him for a few years and get his first official album once he's able to get out of jail and make it. I'm sure some of you are thinking, there's no way 6ix9ine is worth that amount of money. And you're likely right, there is no doubt a big reaction and reach for what has been happening in the rap world recently in regards to this case. There's little doubt that 6ix9ine is controversial, but the controversy that has been stirred up by becoming a snitch and ratting out members of the 9 Trey Bloods and then going so far as to incriminate certain members of the rap community has made him arguably the most controversial figure in rap right now. And that's saying something given some of the people in the fold. As for the dollar amount, as noted, it's likely an overreaction because 10K Records likely thinks that 6ix9ine will be one of the hottest tickets and commodities once he gets out of prison, meaning everyone will want to see him in concert, hear his music, etc. And through that he'll make money, which will make the record label money, and so on and so forth. Is that really true though? You can't really say for certain, but you can likely say that he's still not worth $10 million. Because while it's true that controversy creates cash, it's also true that certain kinds of controversies don't make money at all. With 6ix9ine, he betrayed a lot of people, including many in the rap community. So when he gets out of his home confinement and tries to make music, they're gonna try and put him down musically, get their fans to ignore him, and so on. So his hot takes and such won't mean much if people don't want to buy his music or support him as he thinks they will, or as the record label hopes that they will. Still, getting $10 million for a single record deal, that's a pretty good deal, and it's more than 6ix9ine has ever made before. So even if the deal goes south by the end of things, he'll still be rolling in it more than likely. So for him, after all that he's done, yeah, that's a big win. But in terms of him being the biggest name ever, that will be a huge failure, and he knows it, which is why he's popping off his mouth and bashing people who are calling him a snitch and whatnot, despite the fact that he very much is one. The potential charges after release. So yeah, he might have a record deal once he's out of house arrest, but is it really going to be that clean? Will it really just be that he gets to make music and live happily ever after all that he's done? Maybe not, because while it may be true that there are some good tidings of sorts heading his way, it's also true that there are some people who are trying to make sure that his freedom is short-lived, and it'll be another case of 6ix9ine getting himself into trouble that he can't get out of. Confused? It's honestly a bit tricky, but I'll try and keep it concise. To put it simply, 6ix9ine has had a long and antagonizing history with the law, and because of that he had a bunch of cases thrown at him, one after another, including many going on when he got arrested in November of 2018. The charges were varied, but nothing compared to what the FBI charges were. That's federal versus state, for the record. And thus, when the case went to court, and before the plea deal that would save his bacon, all the other cases were deemed unnecessary and were thus closed. So usually, that would be the end of the story. These kinds of cases wouldn't be brought back up for questioning or sentencing unless under extreme circumstances. And yeah, that would be the case, but you see, because of his plea deal, he got out. So because he served the time for the crimes he committed with the FBI arrest, that means that the other cases are back on the table as long as there is brand new evidence to use against 6ix9ine, which according to certain lawyers, there is. Now whether this new piece of evidence will do as they intend is unclear at the moment, but even if it's only something to get the case going again and get 6ix9ine arrested again, that might be enough, because for some people they just don't want 6ix9ine to get his happily ever after all that he has done. So bringing back these cases will throw his life back into disarray and could potentially put him behind bars once more, this time without a plea deal to save him. The change to his image.
To continue to live, he'd have to leave his old life behind.
I don't think he could adjust, to be honest with you. He's got to just cut that world off and walk away.
6ix9ine is not a good person, as I have repeatedly shown you, but if there is one thing he is somewhat good at, it's being consistent towards a goal. In this case, it's his goal of having a certain image as a rapper. Everything he has done in his career, from making rap music to joining the 9 Trey Bloods to getting into beefs with other rappers and all the stupid acts he's done to get in trouble with the law, they've all served a purpose. Mainly the purpose of boosting his image and his street cred to where he felt they needed to be in order to get in the right crowds and get even more famous. Which is why many people didn't like 6ix9ine in the first place, because he was more focused on his image than he was in his rap music. 6ix9ine is part of the mumble rap subgenre of rap, and that means that his music is very repetitive, follows the same vibes all the time, and doesn't have have the emotional impact of lyrical rap. But does he care? No. He did what he wanted, when he wanted, and he did it so that he could continue to grow his rap image. And that right there was the problem, because he was so focused on that, he couldn't see the danger he was in with the 9 Trey Bloods, and thus he got arrested. Then to make matters worse for him, he became a snitch, which in the rap community is a big party foul. Loyalty is everything on the streets, because if you can't trust someone who has sworn loyalty to you, then you really can't trust anyone, in a sense. And that person who betrayed you is nobody to you. For 6ix9ine, his snitching on the 9 Trey Bloods is a much bigger problem that he likely wants to admit, or will ever admit, because in the eyes of the rap world, he's a snitch through and through, and that means he can't be trusted. What's more, the people who hate him like Snoop Dogg, 21 Savage, Meek Mill and such don't want to associate with him one little bit. This means that all the influence that they can have for him, the ones that can help make him stronger as a rapper or get more popular, have nothing they want to do with him. Now, if you listen to 6ix9ine, you would be told that the reason the rap community is so angry with him is that they are jealous of him, and that when he gets out, he'll be more famous than all of them, which of course makes zero sense, but that's 6ix9ine for you. In 6ix9ine's mind, snitching was just another step towards getting the image he wants as a rapper, but instead it's likely the thing that'll get him in such trouble that rapping won't be as easy or fun as it used to be for him. Any chance for recovery? Okay, let's try and be positive now. Let's try and get into the mindset of hope and forgiveness and ask ourselves whether 6ix9ine can change. Whether he'll take this series of events that have happened to him from arrest to snitching to release and see that he needs to change his ways in order to be a better person, be a better rapper, and be a force for good. And you know what? I can't even finish that thought. Because we all know who 6ix9ine is. He's not just a random rapper that got in trouble. He's a guy who consistently gets in trouble and doesn't accept responsibility for what he did. Just look at the plea deal he got for the FBI arrest. He had to plead guilty to a bunch of charges to make it stick, but he didn't care, because as long as he ratted out all the other members of the 9 Trey Bloods that were with him, he would be fine and able to move on. And as noted, when other rappers with much better understanding and reputation called him out for what he did, he fired back and chewed them all out for saying that he shouldn't have snitched. Not that he didn't deserve the deal or that he earned it or that he was innocent or whatever. He just called them all jealous and moved on. He doesn't care. And those close to him, like his ex-girlfriend Sarah Molina, have plenty of stories about 6ix9ine trying to get his way by any means necessary, which proves that even outside of rap, he's a bad person. Now yeah, it's true that anyone can change, but if he hasn't changed after all the pain he's caused, all the dangers that he's put on people, all in the name of helping himself, yeah, it doesn't look like he'll be changing anytime soon. And because he won't change, there's little hope for a long career, because no one wants to work with the current version of 6ix9ine, the 9 Trey problem.
Just weeks after 6ix9ine testified against his former associates, Anthony Harv Ellison and Aljamiah Nuke Mack of the 9 Trey Bloods.
And now let's talk about the elephant in the room, mainly in that the 9 Trey Bloods are not happy one bit about what 6ix9ine did to them in terms of his betrayal, so much so that they are swearing revenge against him, and many who are still out of jail are allegedly planning to try and get him in any way that is possible for them. Because of that, 6ix9ine has already noted that he's going to hire 24/7 security for him and his loved ones so that he can continue to live his life outside of prison. But as we all know, just because you have security doesn't mean that it'll work full time. 6ix9ine did a grave offense to the people of the group he once worked for, and they did everything in their power to make him a hit rapper, which is what he wanted when he joined up with them. But now he's betrayed them. He'll have to deal with their wrath. It may not come exactly when he expects it to, or it might come almost immediately. It's hard to tell, but it is for certain that it will come in one form or another. And there you have it, a look at the 6ix9ine situation and why his career is basically over because of what he did. Can you believe the crap that 6ix9ine has gotten away with? Do you think his career is over? Let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe.